I put this post up yesterday where I quoted the new Tomcat that was basically, according to our schedule, criticizing the Outer Worlds 2 by putting up the Steam DB numbers. What's funny is the Outer Worlds 1 has similar Steam DB numbers and is actually higher in its concurrent player count by 2,000 players. If I go to Steam DB right now and show you Steam DB Outer Worlds itself, you're going to see that it's let's do Outer Worlds 2 as well. You're going to see that there's a very interesting, comparison that goes on. So this is the Outer World itself. Its all-time peak 5 years ago was 20,349. The Outer Worlds 2, its all-time peak was 18,251 on Steam. Never has been a massive seller in, this regard, right? But these people are basically bringing a connotation to say that Obsidian is going to close because the Outer Worlds 2 is, in quote, flopping hard on, on Steam. And then their conclusion is it's flopping hard on Steam, therefore it's flopping harder on Xbox, and then they forget the fact that it's going to also, flop on PlayStation. This is the problem with their analyses when they come out with these conclusions. And so many of them, like this person here, comes in and says Obsidian will release one more game, then close down. Now, this is funny because whenever they say this stuff, right, they say, Obsidian is going to release one more game, it's going to close down, and all of this stuff. This is wishful thinking from the so-called PlayStation fanboy who is here to talk about Xbox and the games, and they want Xbox to close its studio so that they don't make games, so that Xbox will be on parity with PlayStation, who is right now not making many games. This is exactly what they want. So when this person said Obsidian will likely release more than one game and close down, I said in your dreams, LOL, because Obsidian's games, everybody knows in terms of their sellers, they're not necessarily going to sell that many copies because their games are RPGs of a specific, it's really niche in a sense, to be honest, right? But over time, these games will make their way, into the hands of people who want to play them. And this is the difference. However, something's very important and interesting here is as these guys were talking, this person says, what happened to Tango and the initiative was a reality, though. Only Phil played Perfect Dark in his dreams, laugh emoji. So I replied, because now it's time for us to pull the receipts. And I had to log the tweet because, again, these cats aren't here for anything. But I chose that, let's go ahead and kind of open up the books. And I said the same thing that happened to Firewalk and Neon Koi. Do you guys know that I've actually noticed this? This is in two incidences. I've not tested it out in more than two incidences, that many PlayStation fanboys don't know the studios that PlayStation has closed from around 2024. And in some cases, even 2023, they don't know the names of those studios. What this tells me is they're very well aware with every single studio that Xbox is closed, but don't know the studios that PlayStation has closed. In some cases, they don't even know the games those studios even made when you point out that PlayStation has closed those studios. And this conversation really opens up that particular, reality to you. And I said, you must look at your own house before you start pointing fingers. Where's Deviation Games? My dude, walk away before I start opening up the books on PlayStation, ... LOL. And I asked, where's London Studio? Where's Pixel Opus? This is now me doing a data dump. Because again, I didn't want him to go run and Google two studios and come back and then bam, I got to go Google another two. And so it basically exploded. Who TF are those studios and what IPs did they make? See what I told you? They don't even know. They don't even know. Their pundits will sit in the middle of an infested cast and just seethe over what Xbox is doing and what they think Xbox should be doing, when in the case of PlayStation is doing the same thing. And in some cases, PlayStation is not even doing as much, in terms of providing value as Xbox. This has been the pattern. But remember, again, we've seen that this is actually a challenge in trying to actually have sensible conversation across the board, as this so-called console war thing has also been pushed for a long time, even from some of the pundits. And Phil's been telling these cats, man, this is where Xbox wants to go across the board. So I said, awesome. You all prove that you don't even follow PlayStation's development only fixate on Xbox, get off Twitter, and do a Google search. In fact, what was crazy is him actually making that particular, basically asking and then saying, every publisher has IPs and studios that got axed. Nothing new. You see this? And is the one that is saying you're in denial that Xbox's studios won't if they're underperforming the way they are. That's the problem with you. You only see Xbox's business from your little peephole that you've designed for yourself. And you want to insult everybody. That's the problem, right? And calling everybody names is the problem with this conversation. But what we've realized is we absolutely have to ignore many of you, and we have to lock you out of any spaces that these conversations are going on. Why? Because your vitriol is predictable. At this point, guys, this is the point where we're now predicting. And keep in mind that this all started with me just laughing at a prediction actually coming to fruition that these folk will come out here and be like, oh yeah, Outer Worlds 2, Steam DB dead. Remember, we put it on the calendar. This is exactly, I put it for the 29th of October, and here I am on the 2nd of November. Someone else, and this is not the first person, by the way, I saw the Twitter account Pirate Nation also posted this literally on the 30th. He went straight to Steam DB and eventually did this. This is why it was actually very funny at the end of the day, because I didn't even retweet his post. I just laughed because these folk aren't really here to go ahead and engage in the conversation in an honest way. And this is why, for the most part, they've been locked out of any conversations that are serious. You cannot take these folks seriously. You cannot consider anything that they're saying to be worth your salt, because you're just going to be wasting your time. And this is exactly where, it really makes things very funny, because with them, it has to be different. Oh, well, PlayStation, everyone's done this, but Xbox has done it more. And it's like, no, Xbox has done it the same or less or done more to actually better gaming, while PlayStation has done nothing, but they fixate on it. These folk, in my opinion, they're facing a challenge. They're facing an internal challenge that they're going to have to go ahead and, they're going to go ahead and deal with at the end of the day. But it is what it is. I have to say that when it comes down to it, you really have to go ahead and, point out that these folk are being absolutely biased. In many cases, they're being facetious as well. They're not interested in actually giving you what reality actually, spills. But I digress. I'll get out of your hair. Thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate you guys' time and audience. Talk to me in the comment section as I leave you with this Division 2 gameplay. Peace out.
Reinforcements incoming.
Keep moving. We need to clear the next hall.
When you're done fucking things up there.
Keep moving. You still got 2 halls to clear.
Hostile radio intercepted.
Division's on my 6! So cut through the planetarium. We gotta secure that ordnance.
To uncover